Thank you very much, and it's very exciting to be here, and thanks Auntie Violet, and I acknowledge the Ngunnawal people and pay my respects. So my colour hit scheme here is a coincidence actually today. I'm not from this community, and I'm here to share with you my experiences of being an independent elected in WA in the last election. And I thought I'd tell you a little bit about why, how we ran the campaign, and then how I operate now. First, the why. I had never imagined I would be involved in politics. I could see that there was a problem, but didn't see myself in either party, and so I thought that was it really. Couldn't really see a role for myself, and that was fine because it looked pretty ugly and pretty revolting. But the more time I spent on non-profit boards and in community services, as well as in consulting and as a lawyer, I saw over and over again how important politics is in our future building system. Our future building system is politics, politicians, media, community, and all together we create a future. And everyone in the system thinks that there's a problem, and everyone thinks it's someone else's problem to fix. And so then I was asked to run as an independent in January 2022. An election could have been called at any moment, and the maximum time that the campaign could have been was 4 months. And it made me want to vomit, to be honest. For 2 weeks I woke up every morning thinking, am I really going to do this? Because there are so many reasons not to. And there was just one reason to do it, and that is that it needed to be done. And I was really worried about the direction that the country was heading in and our ability to make good long-term decisions. And it seemed to me that the major parties were machines that were focused on winning elections rather than focused on what the country actually needs. And I kept saying to the group who'd asked me, if you find someone better, I'll be very, very supportive. And eventually I said yes. And despite feeling sick about it in those 2 weeks, from the day we launched, I've not had a moment's regret about that. And it's been an incredible experience. In 4 months, we worked up to 900 volunteers, and most of those were people who'd never been involved in politics before. We had an office that broke all the rules of what your office should be. It should have, separate locked areas for strategy because of all the spies and this kind of thing. We had a Japanese restaurant that literally had paper-thin walls. And it was a wonderful thing. We had people wandering in off the street to see what it was about. And we'd say, well, do you want to get involved? What can you do? What do you want to do? And so we formed this big, messy team of people who just wanted to see something different. And it was incredibly energising. It felt like we were inventing democracy, to be honest, because there was just this strong sense that for the first time, people in Curtin felt like they actually had a say and they could have some influence on outcomes, and it had been a safe Liberal seat for a very long time. So that was very energising. We similarly had an entirely positive campaign. We didn't do any attacks. Despite the attacks that came, we focused on policy, and we were really keen to focus on the policy, not the politics. We had a surprising victory, not least surprising to me. And then I had to have the conversation with my husband, about a month before, saying, I might actually win. How are we going to do this? I've got 3 teenage kids, and Perth is a long way away, and a 3-hour time difference this time of year. So it is a challenging lifestyle. But I have zero regrets because it has felt like it's breathed new life into democracy. And talking about how we operate now, I'm very passionate about how we create opportunities for people to have a say on the decisions that are being made in Canberra. So we are constantly trialling new ways of getting community input, collating it and feeding it into processes. And Margaret Wheatley says there's no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. We saw that in the campaign, and that energy has continued. And I slightly disagree with Claire. I think, yes, it is up to politicians to provide opportunities for engagement. It is also the obligation of people in a democracy to turn up. And the world is run by the people who show up. And we create, so I focus on creating those opportunities and publicising them on particular policy issues, but also to just have open listening sessions where people come and tell me their concerns. And it's really fun. It's a really fun part of the job, and I really enjoy the challenge of hearing conflicting perspectives and trying to find a way both for people to hear each other more, because we're so polarised. So even the fact of getting people in the same room and hearing different perspectives has some benefit in itself. And then also trying to find a sensible way forward. So it's been a fantastic journey. And in another way that I work now, I don't hold the balance of power, but I take democracy very, very seriously. And I agonise over every vote in the House of Representatives. And it's interesting going into the House and watching the parties go to the side that they're meant to go to. Most of them don't really know what we're voting on at any one time. And then you'll see the independents in the middle trying to, work out where they're going to go. We should be agonising over every decision. We should be thinking about what is in the interests of our community, but also the country as a whole. And that is our role as parliamentarians. The Parliament shouldn't be just an executive recruiting, field for the executive government. It should actually be focusing on the legislation. So my deep belief in democracy has led me to take these decisions very, very seriously and try and focus always on what's the right thing to do and less on the politics. And it's incredibly difficult to keep that focus because the day-to-day craziness of it can really suck you in. But I think that's the benefit of independence, is taking a long-term perspective, being focused on what the right thing to do is, and really connecting back to community and creating those opportunities for people to feel like it is actually their democracy. So I wish Independence for Canberra every success, and you might end up with candidates who believe very different things to me, and that's fine too, because it's about what your community believes and finding the candidates that are aligned with that rather than any other political grouping. So I wish you all the best, and I say thank you very much for turning up, because that's how decisions actually, that's how change is made. So thank you.